Hello and welcome to the latest edition of IAFA Insider, and, as you've probably guessed by now, your usual host, Emmet Ryan of Action 81, is taking a well-deserved break for the next couple of weeks. In his place, it will be myself, Stephen O'Rourke of thescore.ie, who will guide you through this weekend's Irish-American Football League action. On the show this week, we have John Judge, head coach of Tullamore Phoenix, whose team scored a last-minute field goal to claim their first IAFL 1 win of the season on Sunday. We were also due to be joined by Gary Somerville of the Dublin Rebels. However, due to a recording error on my part, we've lost that interview with Gary, but hopefully we'll speak to him or someone from the Rebels or Trojans following their rematch this weekend. And now to the drama in Tullamore this Sunday, where the Phoenix kicked a last-minute field goal to claim not just their first win of the IFL 1 season, but also their first win in little over a year. Going in 12-0 at half-time, things didn't look good for Phoenix, so I asked head coach John Judge just what it said at half-time that inspired such a different performance in the second half.
Yeah, the Dragons had done that first half, and we had to make some adjustments at the game. We had to celebrate a few home truths, and you could see at the start of the second half there was a much better performance and more of a steely sort of desire in the lads' performance, and lucky enough to carry this through to the end.
And towards the end of the game, there was a fairly dramatic finish to it. Can you describe what happened?
We recovered the ball off the Dragons. We were starting to get a few picks, and we blocked the field goal, and we recovered the ball, and we went on a drive down the field. But fair to the Dragons that were holding out, they were really holding out, and some very strong defensive stuff. We got about 30 yards of the line, and our quarterback used their last time out, and with 19-20 seconds odd left on the clock, and a bad snap, a good hold, and a very good solid kick by our kicker Dave Maloney, and we got the 3 points and we got the win.
And how are you finding the IAFL 1 this year? It seems to be a very close division, a lot of very competitive games going right down to the last couple of plays.
It's very tight. It seems to be a home team league this year. A lot of home teams are getting the results. You see, so far we've drawn and won our two home games. Whispers have won their home game against us. Waterford won their home games. I think the only loss on the record now with regard to home games is Drogheda there from the weekend. But you can see that the coaches are a lot more prepared. You can see that coaches are from times gone past, we all showed up and we just played football. That day seems to be gone. Coaches are prepared. Coaches are going through the tape. Coaches are setting up their teams to counteract other teams. With ourselves, even yesterday, the Dragons were set up to stifle what we were trying to do, and we were set up to try and stifle what the Dragons was trying to do. It seems that's the way the league seems to be going. There seems to be a lot more preparation. The standard of football is really improved throughout. Seems to be improving throughout the country, even from beginner teams. Before where beginner teams, still need experience, but the experience seems to be less.
And from what I've seen of games, a lot of emphasis is being put on very good and very tight defence, with a lot of the more athletic players, the skilled players, tending to go to linebacker and cornerback, whereas maybe a couple of years ago they would have been playing receiver and running back. Do you notice that yourself?
Well, we do notice ourselves our own. We have our own team set up that way. Your real deal athletes, proper athletic people, per se, are going into defensive positions and a lot more with football going a lot more pass happy. Even in the amateur game, there's a lot more passing. You have to be able to cover large amounts of the field. You have to have a good engine, a good gas tank in you. Plus, you have to be able to stuff the run. So you're needing better athletes in these positions. Even going as far as the defensive end position now, there have to be proper athletes. Where you could get years ago, you put 4 big guys or 3 big guys down on a line and you try to just beat your way through. But these days that seems to be gone. It's everybody's getting stronger, faster and better, and you have to keep up, and if you don't keep up, you're going to be left behind.
And from a Tullamore Phoenix point of view, obviously you guys had a difficult season last year, with just the one win. Is it nice to win again? And do you think a win will lead to another, because winning is a habit after all?
It was a long time since we won a game. A little over a year and a bit since we won a game of football, which is a long time for a team that frankly got used to winning. Hopefully it'll get the traction back under, and the team will kick on. There's no point in putting out predictions that we're going to do this and we're going to end up with this amount of wins and that amount of wins. All you can do is win your next game. Your next opponent is meet in 2 weeks. We'll just try and win that one, and after that we'll just try and win the following game. And I think it's given the way the league's going, there's no point in setting yourself a target. It's unrealistic in the way the league's going. It's just literally take the next game and just try and win that as best you can. Prepare for that one.
And in terms of the league as a whole, obviously sad news that we've lost 2 teams this year when we had a record number of entries across both conferences. Do you think the setup was right by the Irish American Football Association to split the conferences into 2, with the sort of new and rookie teams at the bottom and then the more established teams at the top? Do you think that's benefited everyone from playing more competitive football rather than the results being almost decided before the game kicked off?
Well, it seems to suit us. Just from a personal point of view, it seems to suit what our team is. We've a blend of very young guys that have never done it before. We have a couple of older guys with a bit of experience. And we went out last year, we went 1-7, and there was games you could nearly tell the scoreline before they got off the bus, due to the power of the opposition you'd be playing like. This year nobody knows nothing. You'll always have your Trojans, your Rebels, your Vikings. This year Trinity have stepped up big. Who always had a very good offence. So you're gone from that. Even you see this year the Trojans are starting to put the hammer down. The Rebels are putting the hammer down, another unfortunate start of the weekend. But you still see the All Reliables coming through. You take our division. You're one from 5 that can do anything. The games are more competitive. Seems to be better learning curve. The standard of football is an awful lot better, where you, in years past, where the inexperienced teams to be, they wouldn't be as coordinated, or there wouldn't be as practice as the word. The football wouldn't be as good as standard. This year, teams are coming out of the blocks with some fantastic stuff. Coaches are really putting their blueprints on teams. That they're really coming out with proper schemes. Practicing, you can obviously see by teams their practicing's properly done. A big example of that was the Reapers last week. Had a huge fundamental play list, but it was very, very well drilled. And what the word done was massively effective. Watford are you can see it in them, they're a very well drilled team. They've recruited well, they're planning well. To see them, there are people up at games, things like that. We all do the same now. So it seems to be a lot more competitive, and it is a good step for the league. Unfortunately, it was about DCU and Cork. Some good friends of mine down there. That was a terrible, sad thing to see. But as regards to IAFA 1, it was a good thing, because the DV8s had gone as far as the DVS could go as regards senior football. I hope it'll be a great tool for the junior setup. But we need to return 11-man football to help that transition. So the AFL one is good. It's a good project, and I hope it works out well.
Well, John Judge, head coach of Tullamore Phoenix, thanks very much for joining us on IAFA Insider, and best of luck with the rest of the season.
Now, I should point out, in the interest of fairness, that John and I are very good friends, having coached together in Tullamore for 2 years until my retirement at the ripe old age of 30 in 2012. Moving on now to this week's results. There was just one game in the Shamrock Bowl Conference where the Trojans moved to 4-0 in the IFL North with a 26-6 win over the Dublin Rebels. There were 2 games in the IAFL 1. As you've already heard, the Tullamore Phoenix took their record to 1-1-1 with a 15-12 victory over the Dublin Dragons, while the Waterford Wolves maintained their unbeaten start to the season with a 6-0 road win at Drogheda Lightning, spoiling Coach Curley's 40th birthday celebrations in Louth. This weekend sees a rematch between the Rebels and Trojans in Belfast, as well as a key game in the battle for the playoffs between the Craigavon Cowboys and Dublin Rhinos in Castleknock. In the IAFL 1, the North Kildare Reapers will travel to Westmanstown to take on the Dublin Dragons. All games kick off at 2 p.m, so, with the sun shining, why not go out and support your local team? And that's all we have time for this week. My apologies again to Gary Somerville of the Dublin Rebels for losing our interview. Hopefully we'll speak to him on next week's show instead. Anyway, I've been Stephen O'Rourke of thescore.ie. You can follow me on Twitter at Steve O'Rourke, that's Steve O.H. Rourke, and thanks for listening.